Hi, and welcome to Conscious Quilting. I'm John. Today we're going to be working on scrolling feathers. So we're going to be working around in a spiral, backtracking, adding another curl or spiral, and then backtracking the rest of the way to the beginning of the line. And we're going to start another one. Bring it all the way around, butting it right up against the first. Again, adding that second spiral inside and scrolling back. We're going to continue doing this. This is the basic motif here. Keeping the hands flat to the bed of the machine, keeping our movements smooth as much as possible. Now, the backtracking is important to do as cleanly as possible, but if you're not super good at backtracking yet, and that does take time, it's okay. It gives it a little bit of a sketchbook kind of look, and that can be perfectly fine. I'm working on the other side here, and again, it's just a spiral with a second spiral attached to it, and we're working our way back to the stem that we're building as we go. Now you can draw in or stitch in a stem to start with, of course. I elected for this part not to mark anything, just to let it build itself organically, but it helps a lot of people to draw in or stitch in their stem first, but to me that adds an unnecessary line of thread when you're going to have a lot of buildup of thread there anyway. So try both and see which one works best for you. That's fine. And you'll notice throughout the video that I turn the fabric and also do these feathers in different directions, and that is something that I recommend to my students, that you really try to train yourself at doing every type of quilting motif or fill or stitch or whatever you're doing in all directions, because you may need to do that because of size limitations on your sewing machine. And I'm doing the finish here. This is just a simple motif. We're going to take this over to borders now. And I like to start my borders in the corner, starting with a simple figure 8 movement that I can then adapt to whatever feather that I'm doing. And again, we've got the curls going in, and I'm backtracking. And then I'm working the other side. Now, when you're turning a corner on a border, it becomes very important usually to adapt whatever style of quilting you're doing in that border to make it fit and turn that corner as organically as possible. You don't want it to look forced or artificial. You want it to be as seamless as possible. You want it to fill the space comfortably. You don't want to make it look like it was crammed in where it didn't belong. That sort of thing sticks out like a sore thumb in a quilt. And we're working our way around. And I pretty much on this decided to alternate between sides. I don't always do that. If I am working on a feather that I've marked in the stem or stitched it in, I will usually do just one side at a time. But for this style of feather, I found it much more useful to go ahead and balance it out as I go while working in the border. When we were just doing it as a motif, you could do it either way and it wouldn't really matter. But I found it more comfortable and easier to work both sides simultaneously. We're working the other side of the border now. And now you get to see where you get that mirror image effect. And it's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be. It's perfectly fine. But as we build that border, then that corner really will start to take shape. And I'm going to go ahead and fill in my figure eights to make those become a part of this design now. So I'm just adding in those same little scrolls inside of the figure eight, and then all of a sudden it all makes sense. And then I can go and do this other side in the border and just continue building this out. I discovered this feather, it just kind of happened during my live stream, my first live stream that I did on this channel, and which was a lot of fun. And I just suddenly started doing this feather, and I had never done this style before. And I found this to be very fun and whimsical. It had kind of an elvish Lord of the Rings vibe to it when I did it. And, you know, the scroll work just kind of adds this whimsical elegance to whatever it goes into. And I just really enjoyed doing it. So I just decided, you know, it'd be fun to just do a video just on this feather. So here we are. And again, I'm just building out this border and letting it fill the space. Here we can see from another perspective, building out this feather, and again, practicing doing it in different directions. When you're working on a larger size quilt on the bed of a regular sewing machine, you may need to work in a lot of different directions. So it gets very, very helpful to do that. I hope that you enjoy playing with this stitch and having fun with it. The rest of this video, I'm just going to let this play with music and let you guys have a good time with it. I do recommend drawing this quite a bit before you start quilting it. Definitely took a bit of practice to get really smooth with this, but I really enjoyed it and found it fun to stitch. So I hope you will too. And I thank you very much for joining me. And feel free to just bliss out and watch the quilting and enjoy.